Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new series and a lot more exciting Overwatch for you guys. If y'all are just showing up, I am Lord Ethan, joined in the booth by Twin Salty, and this is going to be a really exciting series, I anticipate.
Yeah, you got one of the old bloods in Wichita State who are 7-3 against one of the newer teams we have during the spring split in Southern Utah. So can't wait to see what Southern Utah can do after, getting their season off right last week. 3-1 win over Ryder. But now you're playing a heavyweight team in EGF in Wichita State, and you have to see if you can shock the Shockers.
Yeah, you would look at kind of the standings for either of these teams. You got heavy hitters on the side of Southern Utah, undefeated so far, although Twin Salty, I think that's because they've won one and had a bye, introducing themselves in the second split.
Yeah, it's still undefeated. It's 1-0, but it's still gonna
We'll take
hold
it.
that 1.0 win percentage. But yeah, now you have a true test because Ryder a little bit lower on the standings. Wichita State the complete opposite. So can't wait to see what they can do.
Pretty excited, and we don't actually start out, as opposed to last series, on a brawl mirror heading to Busan downtown. It's going to be not even six-man like I would have anticipated. It's going to be that disruption-style comp that we briefly alluded to earlier. It's going to be the hack on the Mega that allows Wichita to play around that zone. And with these disruption comps, it's kind of the distance game until it's not. There's the engagement onto the high ground from TW8, and Fluffy will end up going down, which means might be a slowdown here for Wichita.
Yeah, they're kind of stuck in this mega health pack room, just getting poked at by the Tracer. Zemetic able to get out, but point captured by Southern Utah first. Great start for them.
Yeah, really good stall as well with that elimination onto the Sombra for Wichita State. They're coming up soon on that EMP. Just gotta keep farming that damage, but ooh, don't die there. Stun from Compress made it look very losable there, made their lives look very endangered. More stuns, however. That Brick Bash isn't all that we get. TW8 learns that lesson the hard way. He's still waiting on this re-engagement.
Yeah, kind of just poking at him bit by bit here, maybe trying to build up an ult, but TW able to be taken out early on, Compress with the flail shot and knocking them off the edge. And now Wichita State kind of in an awkward position trying to hold this main ground, but Southern Utah very happy to just let him sit there and continue making progress on point.
It's like I said, it's the distance game until it ain't, and here's the connection. Haka, or the EMP, comes out. It's a six-man as well into Southern Utah. Archimedes will be the first final blow there, but look at that devastating anti-nade delivered onto TW8 and Sparky. Sparky is going to look relatively unscathed, but TW is looking so incredibly low. A swing of the fight for Southern Utah in the presence of a massive EMP. That is a decisive, or that's a really good fight win.
A great fight win, even with that six-man EMP going down from Wichita State. Yes, they get an opening pick. The pulse bomb from player just doesn't land the way they would have to. And in turn, Southern Utah, they're still holding on 3/4 of the way, and they still have plenty of ultimates at their disposal. You gotta think, for Southern Utah, man, this is quite a start for you if, first real game.
Yeah, it is actually. Spinning to winning, Archimedes is able to just free swing because you got the self-destruct already finding value onto player. Deployment on the minefield, nice pile drive to help clear up a little bit of that space, but definitely Compress wants to swing a little of those, proc that Inspire, keep the team healthy because you have Trasherlin coming in with the rally, helping to bolster the defenses for Wichita State, helping them root themselves onto the objective. Compress goes down, and so does the other support for Southern Utah, meaning that this is a very winnable fight for Wichita. They just got to play their cards right. The D-Mech onto Damply, their proc to use the self-destruct. It's not going to find value, but they will be able to remech with it. Fluffy and Damply finding their picks. They get theirs and hopefully swinging the fight here. Now Dolphin is out of mech and hacked as well. Gonna have a hard time staying on this point, and it will flip eventually for Wichita.
Yeah, eventually gets the flip to go. Relax Docs actually able to get back, gets the Tracer before they're hacked and then discorded and then taken out. But what a great start for Southern Utah. They set the tempo, they captured the point first after Wichita State rather. Had a good setup over in that mega health pack room, and now they have the EMP, have Pulse Bomb waiting as well. Gonna try and maybe hit the Diva of Southern Utah. Almost gets slept, but they know they're around, and Fluffy but Deadly just got to play it a little safe.
6-man EMP, but we or hopefully another 6-man EMP, but we need the follow-up to it as well. There's 5 hack, not quite that 6, but it's still just as devastating. Another miss of the pulse bomb from player, so unfortunate, but if this fight ends up playing out like previous ones, it's just gonna go Southern Utah's way, and with the self-destruct kill onto Sparky, no transcendence to speak of to help them sustain in this fight. It's just gonna be a top-off game here for Reladox as the rally comes out from Compress. Minefield deployed by TW, but it's just gonna be quickly dispatched, not before finding that Brigitte. So no more armor HP building on the side of Southern Utah, but you don't need it. There's not a touch here from Wichita.
Yeah, nobody gets on the point. You can see a few around it, but nobody able to touch in the long run. What a start for Southern Utah. As you look at it from who they played last week against Rider, they only beat them 3-1. You gotta think a team that is now 3-7, you may be wanting to sweep them if you really want to hit above your weight. Well, this is a way to do it. You win Sanctuary, you're heading to Mecha Base, sorry, not Sanctuary. You win downtown, now you're heading to Mecha Base. Both teams now on the rush, and Southern Utah, man, I don't know. We obviously don't know a huge amount about them with this only being their second game, but they're showing up when it matters.
I do have to wonder, though, sometimes, Salty, if the control point game mode is really... if it really shows us kind of how well the teams can play in this kind of team-oriented setting. Heading into Mecha Base, where it is going to be these brawl, rush-style compositions, you're definitely going to see that team play tested considerably more. A stun onto Zemetic is going to slow them down, and definitely the wall is going to help out with that as well. Decisive fight win for Wichita here to start off the map.
Yeah, that Mei is just a huge weapon. We saw it in the previous game, even though not as much as we thought we were going to, but player on that Mei able to get a lot of value, able to capture the point first this time around. And, with that Mei wall in play, you have to play completely differently if you're Southern Utah. They're going to try a fast rotate, but it seems like Wichita State have found it out. Maybe, just in time.
Parted like the Red Seas. It's another massive split delivered by player. You forgot a word in there, Twin Salty. You said with that Mei wall. I think what you meant to say was with that massive Mei wall there erected by player. You're going to find some eliminations as well as another fight win. You lose TW in the process, but they got their shatter. They'll be coming back.
Yeah, I think the Reinhardt just trying to get out for Southern Utah. I think, Wichita State, they let them. They get out in time. And Southern Utah now, a little bit more resistance than they're used to. And they also swapped their main tank and off tank around. Archimedes was on main tank last game, maybe just more comfortable on the Wrecking Ball, as they're now on the off tank on the Zarya. So maybe that's something we need to look at as D-Bomb is sent through. Gonna make some space. Whoa!
Look at that double Deadeye kill and a critical hit finish through the window onto Zemetic. That's the kind of team gameplay that I was talking about, hoping to see with the rush style comp being emerging from Wichita State. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. As Diva Bomb gets sent in the back, makes everybody drop off of the high ground. It sets them all right up for Fluffy but Deadly to get a few pickoffs, as they really don't have anywhere to go. A nice little headshot there as well to finish off the Reaper. And now 7-hour set. That is not what you want to start off, though. A fire strike straight to the face.
Yeah, but Fluffy got theirs, and the Blizzard is going to clear up this choke, but you got to watch out. Zemetic is somewhere lurking around on this off angle. Nice block on the shatter, utilized by Dolphin to no avail. Another Mei wall, but it isn't going to split Southern Utah. There's the Nano applied onto Dolphin, helping them to not only sustain in this fight, but deliver a deadly final blow onto TW. Without the main tank here, Wichita State will begin suffering, especially without the off tank. No defense matrix to eat the Deadeye from Periwinkle, which claims 2.
Claims 2, maybe didn't need to use Deadeye, but in the end, you only used 3 ults, so it's not the worst case scenario. If you Southern Utah, you still have Grav coming up from Archimedes. Zemetic also has the Death Boss coming up, and you have the Sound Barrier to try and counter something from Wichita State. So not the worst case in the world. They have to kind of loosely hold this corner because of the Mei being in play, and they're finding that out. Why right now?
Oh, in play and heavily utilized right there. The Death Blossom is going to claim the Immortality Field, but nothing else. Dispatched by Fluffy is Zemetic out of the fight, and already you see Southern Utah is a little bit on the ropes here, hemorrhaging manpower and resources like the Zarya personal projected barrier. Archimedes has to find an opportunity to use this grab. Reconnecting to the fight is going to be Dolphin, but without supports, there's no sustenance on this objective. The grab thrown out in a final act of desperation and potential last team fight territory, but no follow-up to speak of.
No follow-up. At that point, you just gotta chuck it in if you're Archimedes. And it looks like we are going to a route the wall placed down, and oh, poor Periwinkle. Just not able to get through as she just tries to shoot at the wall for as long as they can and eventually gets through, but it just gets obliterated as soon as she does. So round 3 on the cards for map number 1. And I think to what you said, Downtown is very much a chaos comp realm, as we're going to see it again here on Sanctuary. Teams love to run it. And Mecha Base is a little bit more teamwork to that, using the Mei wall to advantage. Make sure you have the right rotations as a full 6. You're not going to see that on Sanctuary as much. A lot more poke, a lot more chaos going around. Definitely benefiting Southern Utah at least a little bit more when we saw it on Downtown. But I think Wichita State maybe making those small adjustments going into Sanctuary.
I'm hoping to see a lot more from Wichita's disruption comp. I feel like we didn't get that heavy engagement style gameplay that I was honestly really looking forward to from them on Downtown. Have to see how things change here on for Sanctuary. Southern Utah has a really great execution of this comp, though, in my opinion, and I think they'll continue making it work to success.
Yeah, early hack onto the Tracer, barely gets out with their life, but able to get the 2 early eliminations, and without their Wrecking Ball, Southern Utah just electing to regroup. Don't want to push it and give too much ultimate percentage over to Wichita State. So they're just going to let that point flip over and just try and get ready for this next fight, not knowing that TW877 and player both in their backline coming through.
It's a single power drive onto Reladox on the Ana, but it's a meaningful one. Player able to come in there and find the follow-up. Fantastic stuff with that support gone, and Periwinkle out of the fight as well. Despite a trade being present, the Discord Orb maximizes the damage dealt to Southern Utah on the objective. Sparky able to disengage and re-engage at will, and I really anticipate Wichita cleaning up this fight. Yeah, there goes Zemetic. There's no reason to continue contesting here. Southern Utah, get familiar with the spawn. You can leave it soon.
Yeah, they do at least get some point percentage here. They do flip it. Maybe a little bit something Wichita wish they did not allow.
Yeah.
As they're going to be losing about 20-25% here. Once this stagger gets done, it'll be probably 26% actually on that point. So they could be at 50% already, instead just getting over the hump of where Southern Utah were able to get. But Wichita State looking clean now. They seem to have hit their groove. Not the shiniest of their plays in round 1, but rounds 2 and 3 have been showing the beautiful sides of this team. And now with ultimates in play, this EMP Diva Bomb could be dangerous.
Could be, but this position is a good one to play around if you're looking to defend against the bomb. And the EMP gets canceled. Fluffy ends up getting eliminated in the process of the cast. There's the self-destruct as well. Damply just committing to the play there. But again, that territory, that position isn't a great one to play in. Transcendence procced out a Sparky just in time to mitigate the self-destruct onto themselves from Dolphin. And it's an all-out brawl fest here between the disruption comps on the objective. Trashulina ends up getting taken out. Compress traded as well. But the picks are all favoring Southern Utah. It's a waiting game here to see how long Wichita can stall.
Yeah, the tanks for Wichita just trying to stall us out a little bit more. Almost able to get a few members, but eventually the point flips. And now, yeah, TW just going to be able to get out. Damply cannot say the same, however, as they do not have a grappling hook to speed themselves out. Southern Utah able to have a few resources still available. Periwinkle has the Deadeye. Going to try and maybe catch off Player or Fluffy but Deadly. But they do have a little bit of time here to try and figure out what they want to do. Wichita State has the rally online. And if they can get that off and get armor to everybody else, could be a game changer in the mid-fight.
That armor, you know, nothing makes my heart sink so much as hearing, I love teen men in my comp games from Red Team. There's a pulse bomb deployed. It sticks as well. It's going to claim Reladox in as well. Player will follow up with an elimination onto Compress. Those are 2 solo kills and then a triple for Player coming in massively, not so much clutch, but just absolutely a massive contribution from them.
And they didn't even need the rally. You know, they used the field to kind of separate Southern Utah away from the point. And then the pulse bomb from Player just gets so much value, and the dive follow-up afterwards as well gets so much. Southern Utah now need to win this fight, need to win the next fight as well just to stay in it.
Have to see what the engagement looks like. For now, it's just a rush to the objective. That's a beautiful sleep, and an even more beautiful eat on the pulse bomb, Damply consuming that ultimate for breakfast. Minefield on the objective, perfect opportunity for Fluffy to go for the EMP here, but they're going to hold on to it just for a little bit. Damply finds the remake kill. Reladox, perhaps a lurid fantasy has been fulfilled as Diva finds the step on them, and Compress as well goes down. Archimedes quick to follow after until it's only Dolphin remaining here for Southern Utah, unable to stay on the objective or in mech. A reconnection from the DPS is imminent. Zemetic and Periwinkle on those fast retouch heroes, but Player and Zemetic are found in a 1v1 deployment of the pulse bomb. Does find Reladox again. That's 2 kills from Player with the pulse bomb to Reladox. 1 with the stick, 1 without, but hey, we'll take what we can get. So TW is connected to the objective, helps to dispatch Zemetic, but Archimedes is still spinning to winning, looking to stall, unable to do so after they get hacked, and I mean, it's all a bit over for Southern Utah.
Yeah, just trying to stagger it out, trying to see if there's a glimmer of hope, but that glimmer of hope is gone. Wichita State, they fight back, they complete, I guess, the mini reverse sweep within the map and win Busan 2-1. And maybe showing to the Utah like, yeah, you won last week 3-1. We let you maybe win that first round. This is the EGF standard here, is the Shatter, and not even the Shatter, it's just this Maywall. They can just swing away at this. The assist for everything here goes to Player for setting up that Maywall, opening up the opportunity for the Reinhardt just to swing away, get the pin, and just press W. Wichita State, they're back at it again. The win against Hawaii last week built some confidence, and now you play a new team who really doesn't have any fear, doesn't really know what's going on as either where in the hierarchy, and I think for tonight, they just got to show them their place.
That's what Wichita came here to do, racking up those wins, propelling them further up into the leaderboards, and with some really good executions on 2 different styles of composition. Although similar styles of gameplay, you know, both comps that they played so far have relied on that heavy engagement style. That's as soon as you're committed to the fight, you sink a bunch of cooldowns into it, the amp speed for your Rhine to engage, and use the fire strike or a pin in, as well as you use the boosters and the grappling hook into a pile drive defense matrix. So you're seeing big commitments made early in these fights from Wichita State. I'm eager to see if they continue with this style of gameplay, or if we end up seeing something a little bit more slow-paced. If you see the decisive kind of pick our fights carefully dive style, or perhaps some double shield composition. I won't complain about watching some Marissa.
Yeah, I think maybe the double shield comes into play on Hanamura. I don't think we're going to see much of it on Numbani, which is our second map. Maybe some of that choreographed dive we're going to see in Numbani. It seemed like Wichita State, though, had that on lock. We showed it. It was TW and Player going on to the Ana in the back, just pile drive. The tracing on the Tracer was just ridiculous. Takes out the main source of healing in that comp. And from there, Wichita State can just pick apart the Thunderbirds. But Southern Utah, still door wide open for them to get back into this game on Numbani. A little bit favored to that Chaos comp they looked good at on Sanctuary, but maybe need to show a little bit more, I guess, finesse on how to play against that Sombra.
I mean, it's just when she can hack you around corners, what is the counterplay really? At one point, the counterplay becomes you don't pick an engagement against the Sombra, right? Or if you know that the Sombra is somewhere, you see her lurking somewhere, you just dip on out of there. It's kind of a similar principle playing Winston, right? In the dive comp is you don't just dive onto any person. You got to be really picky with your engagements. So I think that I definitely want to see a little bit of that trepidation from Southern Utah going on the attack, but it's not something that I think we'll observe from Wichita State on this more traditional dive comp.
Yeah, more traditional dive coming from them on the defense. Fluffy but Deadly having the pharmacy combo with Trasher Lin. And we'll have to kind of wait and see how Southern Utah is going to react to it. They do have a hit scan and Periwinkle again on the Cassidy to try and deal with this Pharah. But also have to deal with Player, who is going to have their own air DPS they have to deal with in Zemetic on the Echo. So this far back hold from Wichita State, just going to wait for Southern Utah to make the dive and then maybe try and counter dive the backline.
Archimedes gets a glimpse onto there and then says, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer and make sure that I'll be clear to actually engage. But Archimedes is half HP, and so too is Dolphin. They're going to go on a heavy engagement here anyways. Dolphin maybe a little bit preemptive there. Might find themselves caught out, able to secure the Mega, but in the chaos, Periwinkle is going to go down. That's an okay trade, and you can still make something out of this for Southern Utah, but you gotta have the resources to commit. Without the mech, you certainly don't.
Yeah, especially with Barrage online as well already for Fluffy but Deadly. They know they don't have a defense matrix they have to deal with for another 5 or so seconds, but I think they're just gonna accept that. Yeah, we can just hold this corner still. Don't need to use the Barrage quite yet. But yeah, what a build-up on that. Bob already 3/4 of the way there already, and player just using this back high ground to the advance, keeping Zemetic away for the most part until the Mercy caught out.
Fluffy might have a hard time in the skies here. Both tanks for Southern Utah are pretty good at helping to handle the far. Archimedes with a nano boost as well is going to be doing a ton of damage if they can find the connection. But the nano might have come in too early. They were sitting on the opposite high ground, unable to grapple or pile drive onto that opposing defensive formation. TW does find the elimination onto Periwinkle with help of the nano, an aptly timed one at that. And we might see this defensive composition really thrive here in the mid fight. Yeah, there goes Archimedes, and with the Bob, Dolphin is out.
Yeah, everybody from Southern Utah just has to either die or regroup, and it seems like for most of them, die was the answer on the Jeopardy board. But Wichita State still holding on to the Barrage, kind of playing it out safe. Maybe more just playing mind games more than anything else. Is Southern Utah, well, you got your double shield. Did not think we were going to get it on Doombani, but they do pull it out. The Sigma Orisa is online, and they're going to try and push through. I'm trying to think, probably try and push on this near high ground and trying to hold top. But then you lose a lot of pressure to force the back line of Wichita State with those antis just doing so much work.
Nice barrage as well. Most of it ends up getting synced into Archimedes' kinetic grasp, but they'll still end up going down anyway. So without that off tank, Southern Utah is looking a little less confident on this push here.
Yeah, kind of just waiting it out. Have to wait for their off tank to get back into the fight. And Wichita State, they're playing this perfectly, knowing they can hold this top corner as long as they want. And they're Ash and Ana both on this back high ground. And Southern Utah, the only real person that can really challenge them is the medics. So they know they can kind of sit back and look pretty.
Archimedes on the low ground is a pretty tragic place for them to be. Unable to mitigate the Tesla cannon damage onto them. Fluffy does end up getting eliminated. However, Zemetic with the duplicate onto the Diva form is going to make tons of space. So too will the self-destruct thrown onto the high ground, but it ends up dropping down. Ultimately, that doesn't matter. You find Comprex, the Primal Rage environmental kill onto Relodox means that this push is over for Southern Utah.
Yeah, it is all the way done. A nice little hip
shot
there from player.
I like that a
Take
lot.
out Zemetic, and the double shield gamble for Southern Utah has not worked. You just don't have the damage output to try, or the pressure even, to try and pressure that backline of Hanbei and player who just have free reign. And then you also have to worry about Fluffy but Deadly on this far, who almost has another barrage online.
Oh, that's going to be absolutely terrifying to go up against in the last teamfight territory. Archimedes with no adaptive shields. That's the ability that helps you sustain the mid-fight. Zemetic taken out by player as well. Hemorrhaging manpower. Southern Utah is going to have a difficult task ahead of them staying on this point. It's not difficult, though. It's made quite simple on the side of Wichita, saying, that's all right. You don't have to stay. We'll knock you off and force you into a position where you can only draw or lose now.
The perfect rotations from Wichita State. Like, they knew, especially early on, they don't have to hold that top corner. Like, there's no reason to. You can just hold back. And Southern Utah honestly had the right composition earlier on to try and dive that back line, but they could just never get it to work. And then I'm not sure where the double shield call came from, but then you do not have Lucio speed to try and get you up on the high ground faster, to make sure you don't get hit by an anti-nade at choke, which happened time and time again from Hanbei. You can tell they've just been practicing that in the practice range. And then once you get up there, it's like, all right, who do we shoot at? Because everybody else is either going to be underneath you, waiting for you to drop, or hiding on that other side high ground. So it was just perfect execution for Wichita State. And now Southern Utah, the best you can do is draw. You got to try and throw something out on the board. It's like the Chaos comp that won them Sanctuary on Busan is what they're going to run with for now.
Would you have wanted to see a more traditional dive comp emerge from Southern Utah on their attacking phase there, as opposed to the double shield, or do you think that either way it would have been a gamble?
I would have loved to see it maybe get moved. It's hard because
Yeah.
with the traditional dive, you probably go and dive Hanbei and player on that backline, but then you're leaving your backline open to the counter dive that Wichita State has been able to do. It's such a catch-22 scenario that I think they weren't even sure on what to do.
Yeah, definitely. And they're going to have to find a solution now, though. You know, they've got to make something happen on their attacking round. Fluffy able to get in some good early instances of damage, but, I mean, if you want to talk about early damage, there's an early pick for you. Hanbei going down is absolutely brutal. It means that there's no push here until we get the revive onto them. Trasher Lin does bring Hanbei back into the fight, which means that Wichita will be able to make this a meaningful push here.
Yeah, and player is just waiting for this to go in. Now eventually dives through. Now going to be trying to look for the backline up top, and that's the kind of pressure that Southern Utah never really had on their attack.
Breaks on both sides as well, but until TW comes in with a pick onto Relidox, that's half the sustain here. Compress might be able to find the revive onto them, but at that point, do you revive Periwinkle or your other support? It's going to be player eliminated in the fray, and Zemetic is getting a lot of value off this Pharah pick as well. Oh, did Treasure Link get away with a secret revive?
They do for a little bit. They res player, but they are quickly taken out. Let's see if player can build up that pulse bomb here to finish off this fight, as they are down members right now. Fluffy but deadly. They're going to be taken out by the D.Va. Player is the only one left. They're going to maybe try and throw in a pulse bomb. They don't even get to, in the end, a great recovery defense from Southern Utah. They keep the round going for now with almost half the time off the clock. And now you have ultimates at your disposal. You cannot use too many, though, here. I think all you really need to use is maybe Minefield to separate Wichita State on point. And then maybe a Nano or Barrage. I think 3 is where you want to cap in this fight, if possible. But obviously, you can't lose.
Yeah, you know, at that point, if it's to win it, you've got to sink everything you've got into there. Player goes down, which means now's the time to ult for Wichita State to compensate for the man disadvantage. On top of the Nano, TW is going to be able to withstand most of the barrage cast by Zemetic, as well as find that pick onto Relidox. Nice patience from them on that dive. Dual self-destructs cast from either side. Dolphins doesn't get anything, but Dampleys does onto Dolphin during a remake phase. TW with the Primal Rage Kill into Periwinkle is going to weaken the attacking power of Southern Utah. They might be able to compensate with Dolphin back in mech and back in the fray of battle. An anti-nado to Compress is going to lead to a lethal instance, a lethal final blow there, but TW is finally out of the fight. That's a lot of the action that you've been seeing from Wichita State. A lot of space created, but they're brought back. Trasher Lin says, "You are my win condition," and says, "Get back out there. You're powered up." And with a little bit of a damage boost, able to find that final blow onto Periwinkle. Out of mech, Dolphin's going to have a hard time, and just one by one, eventually, Southern Utah will yield that objective to Wichita.
Yeah, Wichita State, they eventually battle through. They win the map. They take the 2-0 series advantage heading into Hanamura. It looked a little sketchy for a little bit there. It seemed like Wichita State had very similar issues to Southern Utah, to where they can get their foot in the door, but for them it wasn't as much pressuring the opposing high ground. It was just getting enough people on the point and actually dealing with the people on point that there was their issue for the longest time. As we can see, triple D.Va Bomb sent out, because I think, both D.Va Bombs sent it. And then, the Echo sends it out as well. 1, 2, 3. The only one that gets is Dampley. The other two just make space. We got that's you don't get that very often either.
Yeah, you do see. I mean, I mentioned earlier in the previous series, but the duplicate onto D.Va just ends up being so remarkably powerful. But what are you gonna do if confronted with 2 bombs? Someone's gonna have to die.
Yeah, basically, you have a bomb up on one side of the high ground, you have a bomb on the other side. It's like, where do you go at that point if you are Southern Utah? I will say this, Southern Utah, they looked better on that defense. They looked way better than we've seen them within the last 20 minutes. Maybe Busan Sanctuary was like the only other time that we really saw them look this good. And you go to Hanamura, they showed they want to run the double shield. I think the big question is, if they do run it, can they run it successfully on the defense, or will they suffer the same issues?
We'll have to see. Heading Hanamura for our next map. We're just going to keep going right along with the action here in the booth. I'm excited to see the double shield get a little bit more value on Hanamura. It's a map that, you know, that strategy is a lot more viable, and as well, I mean, Twin, you've seen it, how quickly paced Wichita wants to keep this game, right? Or these matchups, right? The team fights are all heavy, that heavy engagement. It's a very lightning quick decision making, target prioritization. If you're gonna confront that, an easy way to do so is by slowing down your opponents with something like double shield.
Yeah, you run the double shield. I would love to see a little bit more Brig coming out of Southern Utah as well, just to deal with those dives. Even just hitting them away with the flail. Make sure, like, they're guessing on where they're going to land up. Instead of, all right, I know I have a clean dive. I know exactly where to land. I know exactly where my follow-up is going to be able to be as well. As we've just seen that dynamic of the main tank and the Tracer just going at it time and time again. It just seems like Thunderbird Gaming just don't have anything to do against it. They don't know how to counter it. And again, there is positives from Southern Utah. We saw a lot of good things, but I think Wichita State, it is a seasoned team. They know exactly what they're doing in EGF, and I think that's showing today so far. But going back to last week on their game against Hawaii over on EGF Overwatch, they struggled a little bit on 2CP. Hawaii almost won that map. It took it to in Wichita State barely squeaked by, if it wasn't for a small mistake by Hawaii. So I think if Southern Utah is going to bring it back, Hanamura is definitely the map to do it.
I like how you say that, Twin. A small mistake, you know, and that's really, when you're looking at high-level Overwatch gameplay, it really is just down to those small errors that lead to significant consequences. You know, both good and bad, right? But you know, these high-level players, they understand that there are fights that you sink 6 ultimates into. Just as well, there are fights that you sink 2 cooldowns and 1 ultimate into, and that's all that you need to win it. And it's these guys, both teams so far, I've seen this from. Definitely a lot from Wichita. It's their understanding of that pace that you have to play the game that I think is giving them a really good advantage, and that I think might help Southern Utah as well.
Yeah, I agree with it. Southern Utah running the rush, you know, it looks like they're trying to get that sim TP either on the point or onto high ground, Fluffy but deadly. They're running far again, already a quarter of the way to the barrage, and you gotta think Southern Utah, it's like, man, we have no hit scan. The only people who can really even look at Fluffy but deadly is going to be Archimedes and Compress almost dead. You have to use their mortality.
Oh no, don't do it. Let Reladox play, man. No, that's gonna be a quick cleanup of this first fight.
Very quick cleanup. And Hanbei also gets the anti-nade down on the teleport. It's perfection on how you try and deal with the teleport. And now Fluffy but deadly, they basically have barrage already, which is a very scary thought. You're already 1 fight gone. That ultimate is online, so if you can try and demech Archimedes or try and find the backline with no Diva Peel available, you get easy value and easy fight win. If you're the Shockers, it looks like it's exactly what they're looking for right now.
That was I think it was a 48-second barrage build. It's not necessarily, it's not record time, but it's still absolutely daunting. You know that there's no way Southern Utah is tracking that. Beautiful conk blast into a rocket there. Reladox eliminated first in the fight, and then Periwinkle as well. Who needs barrage? Just keep landing direct hits here, Fluffy.
I honestly think that's what they're thinking. It's like, you know, barrage can kind of be a self-destruct button as well, just because it leaves you so wide open. So why not just keep playing normal? They have no answer for you right now. Zvetic now going to be over onto the Echo and maybe try and challenge you in the air a little bit. But they're going to get challenged by a player who's been a great Ashe player throughout the entirety of this series. Southern Utah, they're going to get... Why? That's interesting. Okay, so they're going to go on the Cassidy instead of the Echo, which I like. But they're on the Wrecking Ball instead of the Diva, which there goes your entire appeal for your backline. I worry a little bit now, as I think Fluffy but Deadly's already realized.
Yeah, no, it knows that there's an opportunity here now. Without the defense matrix, Southern Utah was hapless. Were not for the stun in the immortality field, able to mitigate most of the damage delivered onto their formation. Zemetic will go down a noble sacrifice, but it's not enough. It's gonna be Fluffy continuing to, well, to barrage damage. Southern Utah, barrage Southern Utah with their damage. Oh, man.
Yeah, and Dolphin's like, all right, we need the Diva. Goes over to the Diva. Zemetic, they're basically playing mystery heroes at this point, going over to the Tracer now. As, it seems like Archimedes, yep, you dove maybe a little bit too early as all the attention is on them. Fluffy but Deadly definitely staying true to the second half of their name, as they've just been the thorn in Southern Utah's side the entirety of this map and even last map. And I just doesn't seem like Southern Utah have an answer. They do have window and tac visor this fight, and with some pressure in the backline, maybe it leaves an opening.
It needs, it's this strategy hinges on big plays from Zemetic, and Trasherlin is taken out. Oh, nice visor kill onto Fluffy as well, but Zemetic has been traded in the process. Ultimate's exchange from Wichita to keep them in this fight. The bomb does get Relodox. Poor Relodox, and man, as a support player, I grieve. I want them to be able to play the video game. Yeah. Player does find that melee finish on a Dolphin. TW is out. Trades on both sides, but the spawn advantage is for Southern Utah. Damply now out of mech is not going to offer a lot of sustenance or presence on this objective. And player, that was really close. Zemetic almost lost that 1v1, but in this armed debate, it looks like Zemetic gets that final word.
Yeah, they get the final word. They get 3 minutes added onto the time bank, and Southern Utah still kicking in this game, and now they have ultimates at their disposal. Wichita State going over to the double shield now completely with TW on the Orisa and Damply on the Sigma. Still have everything else the same. Those players. Zemetic maybe gonna force a touch on the point as they're kind of peeking here. Maybe also just trying to get some information now. Goes on the point. Gonna try and for somebody down and does.
Doesn't have that second blink. Oh man, almost didn't have that second blink to dash on out of there. Definitely drops from the high ground, fortifies the choke, but it might not be the place you want to see the Sigma playing. Might not matter, however. Most of the damage, or some of the damage for Southern Utah is out of the fight. It's Fluffy being able to find that killing blow onto Zemetic. Archimedes goes down as well. The disruption will have to wait.
They have to wait for now. You at least for Southern Utah, you do not use any ult, but you do allow the nano to be built. Bob is now activated for player. It gets a little scary now. How you use these ultimates. Can you force out enough resources from Wichita State to try maybe win that next fight? Because you need to win, in reality, 2 fights to try and fully capture this point. And, focusing out Dolphin on this flank, who gets very low, eventually joins back with their team, is a good start, but time's ticking for Southern Utah. Almost half the time bank already gone, and almost a pick with full spawn.
That's unlucky, losing Relodox there, and I don't think that you really want to compensate by making a full push. Usually when you lose someone, that's when you want to do something, but I don't think Southern Utah, it's in their strategy to do something at this point. They're running double main support. It has to be for a reason.
Yeah, you gotta think with the double flex support, with basic compress acting as that main support in this comp, that you have to play a little smarter with your engages, and haven't been able to do so quite yet as Periwinkle taken out. And now we've basically ticked a minute off the clock, and Southern Utah have really done nothing but lose 2 people and sit outside.
It's, kind of 2 minutes of staggers here, and not entirely off of Southern Utah's own volition, right? It's partially Wichita State. Look at this. Fluffy, with the nano boost, says, you know what, it's time to get something done here, and goes in and finds 1, 2, and then almost that third final blow as well. It's Wichita capitalizing off of opportunities to go aggressive and fight the off angle that the enemy isn't poking, but is poking around. Rewards them with another fight win.
It does, and Southern Utah just have not been able to engage a fight the way they want to. Wichita State controlling the tempo, controlling when these fights are going to occur. And Southern Utah still have 5 ultimates, the same 5 they had 2.5 minutes ago, and just haven't been able to figure out a way in. And now you have to basically go down main, unless they're going up top, actually. Probably going to have... who are you going to have touch? Looks like Archimedes gets the overtime push activated, but they're gonna pay their life for it.
Yeah, oh, the barrage as well secures two, both of the hit scans, and then there's a third elimination onto Compress. The self-destruct from Dolphin does get Damply, but it doesn't matter. There's not enough on this objective for Southern Utah.
Yeah, you at least have a win condition or a decent draw condition. It does not look as bleak as Numbani did, but the sun still ain't shining very bright. If you are Southern Utah, and I think a little bit goes to the Ana and Bap together. It's not horrible if you were running like a rush comp, but in the chaos comp, you want like a Brig for the armor packs, or you maybe want a Zenyatta for the Discord orbs to focus down those dive targets. Instead, the BAP doesn't really give you much other than an immortality field when to save himself or to save his support partner. Other than that, you really don't get much value off of it. On the double shield, at least works a little better.
You mentioned, Twin, that, you know, the sun ain't shining real bright, and I'll tell you why. It's daylight savings time for Southern Utah right now. The clock is ticking to find solutions to players' aggression, TW's engages, Fluffy's oppressive damage. And if we bring up the word oppression, a really good composition that kind of fits that is this rush comp, able to just get in your face and stay there for who knows however long.
Yeah, and they're gonna try and do the TP, the same one, and maybe not the same exact one Southern Utah tried, but they have the Mei in play, so I have a feeling they're gonna go straight to point, wall off one of the entryways. Here we go. TP goes down. Everybody makes it through. And they're going to try and wall off this left side.
Player actually holds onto this wall, waiting to separate Dolphin, but Dolphin was able to narrowly evade it. Doesn't matter, the damage is going to be dished out against this double shield comp by Fluffy but Deadly, who does find that pick onto Dolphin. Periwinkle compress gone. It's Wichita's first point. We're going to have to see a full hold on second for Southern Utah to pick up a draw on map 3.
Yeah, the Relodox, yeah, they're just going to get taken out. They do get the quick spawn, though, so they'll be back to the team.
And they were last in that fight, too. I'm liking seeing Relodox last picked in the fight. They played a little bit longer.
Yeah, they at least survived a little bit, and Wichita State, they're going to push the time here. Maybe going for a record on how quickly you can win a round, as they do lose the Symmetra early. Window goes down to try and get some extra damage going through. They have the Shatter. Will they look for it? And yes, they do.
Oh, yeah, it does connect onto Archimedes, but Archimedes stays sustained while you saw Wichita's resources steadily drained in the beginning of that fight. Nice freezes onto Relodox and Archimedes, and now just a go contest the high ground is the call for Damply, armed with the self-destruct, and maybe they'll swing this fight, or maybe just find the reset.
Yeah, gonna reset. No, okay, we don't need to win this. We started off with almost 6.5 minutes, and they're gonna take the jump of shame. That or Dolphin's gonna take them all. They take the game. They take the jump, and Southern Utah, they at least get their footing down. It's a last-second defense, and they're probably going to need a few more. This draw, and Wichita State, you do use what, 3 ultimates there. You do have a few more at your disposal here with the Diva Bomb, especially from Damply, to try and create some space, only needing 33% of that point. But Southern Utah, you know, it's not bleak quite yet. You got 5 ultimates at your disposal. You can't use too many. That teleport is a little interesting.
Just a little bit, and the bomb is, does secure the turret. Oh, there's a remake kill onto Archimedes! I love to see it. That's absolutely beautiful. The self-destruct doesn't get enough, but that's okay. We do get a one remake kill. We did not get a touch. That's a good old-fashioned. Oh no, that's a C9. It wasn't a one fight, but it was a winnable one for Southern Utah. Tragedy has struck.
It was definitely at least a stallable fight, maybe even a winnable fight. You had resources available. A rough way to get your first loss at EGF, as Wichita State, they completely welcome them now through EGF. You know, you got the win last week against Ryder. You felt the good half. You got the bad half today as you get swept by the Shockers, to move to 8-3 this season. And now 4-2 in the Central, gonna hand Southern Utah their first Central loss. And Wichita State, man, they're dangerous. They could be a dark horse
Oh, yeah.
team if they get the juice going against a Colorado, against a UT Arlington, because they truly are one of the best teams in the league when they get it going.
And we mentioned this in the previous series as well. It's just like, now is the time that teams have to get ambitious. Now is the time that they've really got to tap into the potential that we've gotten to see accumulate over the first split and the first couple of weeks of split 2. I'm so excited to see all of that, all of the effort, all of the strategy, all of the hard work that all of the contenders are putting in really culminate into these massive wins, such as the one achieved by Wichita State. But not just the wins, the individual fights, the individual plays as well. It's all really spectacular Overwatch.
Yeah, it's great Overwatch. I think for Southern Utah, not all is lost. You are 1-1. You did have signs of greatness in this game. You won Sanctuary on Busan. You at least looked decent at times on Hanamura. There is definitely some things they need to clean up on the dives, and I think a little bit to clean up on the double shield, trying to deal with those TPs. But overall, it wasn't a horrible game for Southern Utah. You do still have the second half of the season, these last 5-6 weeks, to truly get it going, to truly kind of adjust to the league in these set map pools. But not all is lost for Southern Utah. I think they can still mount a pretty decent season, maybe end like middle of the pack in the standings, which honestly, entering during the winter, just starting off the spring split, I don't think it's that bad of a goal for them.
No, absolutely not. But they've all of the teams today have their work cut out for them. These broadcasts and matches make it pretty easy for coaches and staff to kind of find out what these strategies look like. So Wichita is definitely going to incur some resistance in their next matchup. Have to see how they look in the future. At least for now, we're going to see how one player looks in particular. Here coming in for a post-game interview after a short break. We'll be right back with that. Welcome back, everyone. It was a pretty quick series, kind of one and done, but there were still some pretty explosive moments, and we're gonna bring you guys a similarly exciting interview with none other than Fluffy but Deadly. Congratulations on the decisive win. How are you feeling after that?
Feeling pretty good. The first map was a little interesting. They had us in the first half, not gonna lie. How they took the first point from us. It's kind of like a wake up call to like, hey, we need to get in gear. And I'm glad we found our gear.
Yeah, I think we kind of got put off a little bit on Sanctuary. It's like, oh, hey, not Sanctuary, on Downtown. It's like, like Southern Utah's here to play, and then all of a sudden you turned on a switch. It seemed like, and you guys would just all steam ahead at that point. How did you guys kind of realize that they maybe don't play against the Farcoms very well because they couldn't deal with you tonight for whatever reason, and you guys were just running havoc?
One of the biggest things that we saw is that they didn't put a lot of pressure on the Pharmacy, so we kind of just use that as our advantage to be like, hey, they're not used to this, or like they may haven't played against that much too often, so like, hey, let's just keep running it, let's just keep going, see how it goes. And I think we found our stride with the Pharmacy call.
Little bit of a difference between what you might look at as a crutch and what really ends up being is just I'm not meeting opposition to it, so I'm gonna run it there. But it's really what I saw was something a lot bigger, and I think that you'll understand this very well, Fluffy. Is just you're playing on a team. You guys are the sum of all of your parts, and I saw a phenomenal interaction and connection between your tanks and then you and player in particular. Really great follow up. Who's the one kind of helping to set up those plays? Is it mostly the tanks or mostly you guys?
I think it's usually TW. He's always like asks first, like, "Hey, is everyone to engage? Like, ready to engage?" And then player and I both respond, like, if we are or not. And then once we are, then we just like go together. I guess there isn't too much to it, unless if one of us isn't ready, then we'll just back out and go again.
Yeah, we definitely saw it a few times tonight where just the dives and the executions were just perfect. Everybody was on the same page on who the target was. And you're going to need that kind of engagements when you guys play Colorado. And how are you guys kind of feeling going into that game? Last undefeated team left in EGF.
I think it's doable. They 3-1'd UTA, and then we also in turn 3-1'd UTA. Or they 3-1'd us, so therefore we could take a map off Colorado. Or three, in a row, 3-0 sweep. I'm looking for it.
Fair enough, and really, if you guys play as confidently and as clean as you guys did today, you guys shouldn't run into too many issues. I'm very excited to see how that series unfolds. But for now, let you depart, get some hard-earned rest. Before you do go, however, I want to hear any shout-outs from you. What do you need the world to know, or who do you want the world to know about a little more this evening?
I heard in Max's interview, I heard that he said he was the best main tank in the league, but I'm sitting right here though, like TW and I, like we're both here on Wichita, not William Mary.
All right, you loved it.
Just had to throw that at him.
Yeah, you gotta stick up for him a little bit. You guys definitely showed it these last 2 weeks. Congratulations, you guys, and good luck in the rest of the season.
All right, thank you guys.
That was Fluffy of Wichita State University. Really, really, really good stuff that we got to see from them today. A little sad, Twin Salty, that the series also resolved in a pretty quick manner. I was hoping that you and I would get the quick, the reverse sweeps or the 5-game series, or maybe even a 3-1. Maybe you guys or you will end up getting that with Waffles coming up to fill in for the play-by-play cast for the remaining 2 games. Take a look at the schedule here, and Salty, what does the rest of the evening look like?
Yeah, we got University of Montana versus UT Arlington. Arlington, Flippin' but Deadly said, lost to Colorado for the 2nd time this season last week. Going to be looking for some revenge. And then Colorado against Tennessee. That is going to be the game of the night. Can Tennessee be the giant that takes down the absolute giants in Colorado? They have not been able to be beat up to this point. Will Tennessee be able to do it? We'll have to find out here in the final game of tonight. But can't wait to get in the booth with Waffles. Been great casting with the games. Even though they were 3-0s, we had some great moments tonight where all teams involved. So can't be asking for more.
Absolutely. If you guys want to see more of me, head over to twitter.com and drop me a follow there. You guys can stay up to date with all my Overwatch hot takes and casting gigs as well. Don't go anywhere, guys. You guys still have Twin Salty in the booth, and Waffles come up online. She is an apt play-by-play caster. I learned everything I know from her. So you guys have some more fantastic Overwatch, hopefully a 5-game series here tonight as well, Twin. I will catch you guys later, and like I said, we'll be right back after a short break.
Yeah.